2020 NASDAQ Composite leading sector right into all-time intraday highs of 11,283.6. Yes, it was. So now that I've said that, one of the things that we noticed today, as all the big ones were breaking out and whatnot, that pushed it up, that we did actually, believe it or not, there was a point in time where on the weekly chart here that we hit 99.98% overbought on this weekly. And right now we can clearly see here that we're at just 99.0. Okay. So we did hit that really overbought area. When these things go up that high and they hit that overbought area, you have to be very cautious if you are trading the options, especially on the equities that just made the biggest moves like we did, the Tesla, the Google, the Amazon, again, and they pumped stocks up. And they pumped Apple up because of the stock split, and they did. And they pumped, boy, did they pump Tesla because of its stock split, and that's a big part of the NASDAQ 100, and it is, and it's a big part of the weighting of the S&P 500 and all of that. And they pushed it to all-time highs with options expiration tomorrow. And, it reminds me of 1999 all over again. And it does. And the reason why I say that is because the algorithms that are used in the exchange model, which is a machine, and it runs the buy scripts, and it can just keep running those things. And you have to understand that they'll run them so high, and then they'll have these big reversals, particularly in the ones that have the big splits, like Apple moving forward, and it won't have the same weighting in the NASDAQ 100 or any of them. So that will be a change, particularly in the key indexes themselves. Now, having said that, what we're going to look for is where the NASDAQ Composite and the leadership stocks are going to hit their highs. When we start to see sellers move in, then we're going to exit. And when you get this extreme overbought, you always want to be a seller into extreme overbought markets, not buyers. So when you're holding, like we are, is you sell into the moves. And you always do that when you get to overbought, exuberant, extreme bull market moves. Great bull market, fantastic. Couldn't ask for more. The problem is that the volatility is going to get bigger. And it is. And the reason why I say that
connection lost
is that market volatility always get higher
market data connection reestablished.
You have the biggest leadership stocks pushing the indexes to this high in the NASDAQ Composite here on the weekly chart. Is that you can only go so high.
Market data connection reestablished.
And I always tell people, like we do, is you sell little bits into these extremes. You don't always have to sell everything at one time, but you do want to be a seller into these extremes, and you do. And this is one of the things that we have always done. And like I said, every one of these events that we see, and stocks running $130 intraday, $80, $60. You know, this is 1999 material, and it is. We've seen the same thing then as we're seeing right here, right now, and we are. And I'm talking about the NASDAQ composite specifically. And yes, it's a different group of stocks that have done this, and they're great companies that have done this. But when they get overbought to the extreme level, my friends, that's when you want to be a seller, not a buyer. So once again, cautionary warning. We've been through this many times, and we can keep going up and challenging when it makes another new high, and it challenges it. But then when it gets that overbought again, the rubber band will snap, and it will. So do not be involved when a pullback will happen at extreme levels. So these are the things that we are looking at and are doing. And it's only when we get to these levels is that you can only get so overbought. And we are in phase one on the NASDAQ composite, closing out August and moving into